What's going on, Soul Nation? Ginger Prime here, and today I wanted to make a video about New World. It's an upcoming MMORPG from Amazon Game Studios. This studio actually has a lot of pedigree, a lot of developers behind it. It's got the action combat, and we've seen a little bit of it here and there, and right now it's in alpha, and it's preparing for beta in April, and you can get into the beta if you pre-order. I would recommend just waiting on that personally. But I'm already pre-ordered. I'm going to jump into this game. And basically, this is a video to kind of serve a couple of fronts, to kind of educate you about the state of the game, but at the same time, also ask if this is a game that you might be interested in. Obviously, when we talk about action, RPGs, we talk about Phantasy Star, we talk about Destiny, we talk about Division, we talk about Anthem, we talk about so many of these other games. And this is an upcoming one, and one that I'm particularly pretty interested in. Having recently kind of been dabbling around in Warhammer Online, Return of Reckoning. I know it's an old game, but I do love my PvE, PvP games when they kind of blend them together so well. And so that's what New World is. And what this is this is a letter to the community. It's by the devs. And this was just posted, and I thought I would break it down, read it to you, give you guys some of my insight. If you want to see my previous coverage of New World, I've got that posted over on Work to Game. I'll include the playlist link in the description of this video if you want to go check out that playlist and get more informed about this upcoming game. There's still a lot of drama around some of the changes that they've made to PvP. This is, in this letter, it's going to address some of that. And so that's what I want to do for you guys today. And I also, again, ask the question, is this a game that you're interested in? Would you like to see me cover it in more detail here on Ginger Prime? Let me know in the comments below. And if you like this video, and if you're new here and you haven't hit that subscribe button, if you feel like we earn it with this video or any of our other content, I would consider you hitting that subscribe button, that like button, and ringing that bell. It helps us out with the algorithm, but I'll leave that choice completely up to you. And I thank you for just being here so far into this epic intro before we dive into the content. So it starts, hello New World adventurers. We've been living with our latest alpha for over a month now, and it feels like the right time to send a letter to the community. We've learned a lot, and we've wanted to take a moment to update you on the state of New World's alpha and give you some insight into our future plans. Thanks to all the alpha players, you've helped us out a ton. The feedback on the new features has been awesome, and players have helped us find bugs and new design opportunities that we wouldn't have pursued otherwise. Special kudos to Striker, who found a way to claim territories outside the play space, and to Dr. Dankmeme for finding the infinite coin exploit, and to all of you for submitting so many crazy bugs. On March 5th, we released a major game update called Factions of War, which introduces compelling new PvP experiences that we believe to be core to the game. Players will now have more control over the actions leading into company versus company war by completing missions that require PvP flagged, as opposed to simply declaring war with coin. This puts more power into the hands of players as opposed to company leaders, and creates a fun race between the faction along the way to war. These new features bring us closer to our original vision for New World. For us, New World is always centered around the following core principles: a massive supernatural world that actively confronts the players that attempt to conquer it, skill-based combat that is tactical and deep at any scale, progression systems that foster player agency, intersecting game systems, crafting, gathering, killing the corrupted, etc., that allow all players to contribute to group goals, territory conquest, and control systems that allow players to create and manage player-driven governments. I'm going to take an aside here from the letter and just talk about it as a faction. They have the 3-faction system, so you're always kind of working to try and gain more control of territories. And this really takes me back to what like Final Fantasy XI was. I think other games, like even Guild Wars to an extent with its World v World, but even Realm v Realm in Warhammer Online, that PvP sandbox element, that always changing element. And what they've done here in New World, in what I've covered in other videos, is that you can do PvE content and contribute to the war effort. You don't have to play this game as a 100% PvP game, but the way they've structured the PvP game, it's that sandbox element that's going to help bridge gap between times of content drought. always looking to gain more power, gain more control. And then obviously the 3-faction system is a departure from what we've seen in classic MMORPGs like World of Warcraft. And well, Final Fantasy XIV has a 3-faction system, it just doesn't use it. But even with Warhammer Online and other WoW-esque clones of that era, where it was a 2-faction system, one side versus the other, and that always kind of created a little imbalance, so to say. Anyway, what they're talking about here, and the fact that it does support controller, even though they say it's not fully supported, we'll cover more of that as that becomes more more understood in future videos. So I'm just really kind of curious overall, and so that all that to me is exciting. And so hopefully, just that's what my thoughts are. Let's get back to the letter. As we work towards finishing the launch features, we've been listening intently to the feedback around the balance between PvP and PvE. Our mission is to create a world where playstyles of PvP and PvE players can not only coexist, but will complement each other. We know that this can be a challenging balance to strike, and we will iterate on our game design until we accomplish it. We want PvP players to benefit from the work of PvE players and vice versa. We've been building systems to support this: factions, crafting, town projects, town progression, war, corrupted breaches, influence, missions, and soon invasions. These different playstyles will complement each other and enable players to get better gear, deal with problems in the game, accomplish missions, and grow their characters, territories, and skills together. Some of our key motivators for PvP are better rewards, controlling space, dominating others, and high-stakes gameplay. Our new features are getting closer to reflecting the higher risk in PvP, which better rewards, which should have the effect of allowing players to show their PvP dominance, as well as draw in more PvE players willing to take on the heightened stakes in pursuit of those rewards. We will have some feature expression around controlling space that we'll want to watch and see, as it is appropriately rewarding, and make adjustments if it is not. In addition to balancing PvE and PvP, we've been working feverishly to create a seamless, open-world MMO with a mix of sandbox and directed style gameplay. We wanted players to have the quest as an option to level and explore, but not to be required to them to do. We are not trying to build a theme park MMO. So far, the results have been good. Our first player to reach level 60, Gideon, did only 36 missions along the way, while our second player to hit 60, Nuko Miko, did over 700 missions. Part of that focusing on the players, meaning we listen closely to what they tell us, both through their feedback and through their playing. We study many types of player data. We play the alpha with you a lot, and we're always listening to chat, talking to players, and reviewing the survey. We use all of this to help refine our game and determine which features to prioritize and what to balance, what modifications we need to make as well. All of this while staying within our core vision to build a seamless open world MMO with a mixture of directed sandbox gameplay and balanced PvP and PvE play. This has helped us to balance TTK, time to kill, refine damage scaling for PvP, spoiler, it's coming in the next release, rebalance equipment load, and improve quests by keeping the goals closer to home. Game development is all about listening to feedback and iterating. The best way to iterate is to find the limits, which means we're often pushing past those limits. Players let us know that our initial implementation of open world full loot PvP last year was too punishing. We believe that the Factions at War release is getting close to the right balance of PvPvE, and we're seeing this work throughout town projects and faction missions, and we expect the influence race PvP missions will entice some PvE players to dip their toes into the PvP pool. I've seen the discussion and wanted to be transparent and clear that we have no plans to bring back open world full loot PvP. The vision is the world where PvP and PvE players can coexist and complement each other, which could not be achieved with full loot open world PvP. We will continue to pursue our vision, adding features and content aligned to our pillars, and we are excited to embark on this path together. Before wrapping up, I thought it would be fun to share a couple of server stats. Starwater crafted over 50,000 T1 swords, and we were convinced that he found a cheat, but when we dug into it, it was all above board. Hashtag impressive. We have a tight race with the most total kills on the tournament, with Lord Dingness carrying a narrow lead over Michael Weisenfoot and Roger, all with over 14,000 kills. Thanks for your continued support leading towards our launch, and we have another big content beat before closed beta, where the world will get much bigger, and we'll add more magic, more quests, and corrupted invasions. If you haven't signed up for the chance to be randomly selected, you can do that here. I hope that we will see you in the alpha, and this is from Scot Lane, Game Director of New World. So this is just me right now, Brian, just kind of talking to you guys for a little bit as we conclude this video. There's some really good stuff here that reads well on paper, but I think with games and the industry as a whole, talk is cheap, and it's all about really delivering the best game possible. So, I mean, I can never root against the dev. They seem like they're really trying to listen and make the best game possible. One that is both the has a little bit of theme park and a lot of sandbox. And I've been saying the model that I think MMOs need to take going forward is that it's kind of that sand park, that hybrid between a sandbox and that theme park, that way that you can ease people into the game, kind of with here's kind of a curated list of things you can do, and then you open up the whole world to them and allow them just to run off in any direction and become their own character and hopefully fall in love with the game, and hopefully this game is really good. But there's also a lot of things that seem to be coming in kind of feeling like in the ninth hour, if that's even an expression. But what I mean by that is that, like, as we look at here, the beta is essentially going to be in April. The game is launching in May. And yeah, I think they're going to get a big content update in March. May, April, the next big update that's going to bring in the pre-order people like myself. So I'll be able to bring you guys hands-on impressions. And then in May, it's release, it's go time. And that's where it will be evaluated. If they make any missteps, you can almost guarantee that you'll see plenty of YouTubers just jumping all over it. Oh, this game failed, Amazon failed, etc. We're not seeing a lot of that because this game feels like it's flying under the radar. The people who really wanted that open world, full loot PvP are frustrated. I don't know if they're going to play the game. But it'll be interesting to see if the balance between the PvP and the PvE and how they're working in cooperation together will end up being a really big driving factor. I, for one, am really excited by this. I, for one, am very interested in this. But I, for one, am also going to let you know, I would wait. I would wait till, we can bring you hands-on impressions. I hear that you can even pre-order the game once the beta's up, so that way you can see people playing it and decide you want to try it for yourself. And then if it's not for you, then cancel your pre-order, as long as that ends up working. Anyway, regardless, like I asked at the top of the video, I'm very curious to see if you want to know more about New World. Sound off in the comments below. Hit that like button, ring that bell if you feel like we've earned it. And we'd love to have you back here as a part of the Soul Nation. My name is Brian, and this is a hybrid news and opinion piece that I like to call Coffee Chat. And that's what this is about. I'm really interested in these kind of games and more, and I'd love it if you guys would let me know if you want to see me cover more of this game. Anyway, I've asked the questions, I've given the information, and with that, I wish you all a fantastic weekend, and I'll see you soon. Take care.